Very much for that. We've got about 15 minutes left, and time is fleeting in this format. So let's get into our round robin discussion and try to hit these off. But let's I do want to once again say to Fernando, Heejin, Laurie, Fernando, Robin, Laura, Mary, we're going to get to your questions, but we have a few things we want to hit first. Number one, Alyssa, Kimmy, and Tanya. Very quickly, one myth each. What is one of the greatest myths that you want our participants to know, that as you rolled out your online learning program, folks said things that were going to that you were going to do, and in fact it didn't transpire? I have experience. I'm a designer operator of 2 online schools. One's an Edgenuity school, one's a Summit Learning school, and the things that people say when you are beginning this path is absolutely unbelievable. So tell our participants very quickly, what are some of the myths that you busted or debunked in your work? Alyssa, you want to go first?
Sure. I think that I've heard people say that online learning makes teachers irrelevant, and some of these are smaller schools like EdVisions, like Minnows, exist to do quite the opposite, to say that a teacher is relevant in a different way. This is not, as you said, a personnel reduction strategy. We don't see value in doing a content push or assigning 600 course enrollments or 400 or 300 even to one teacher. We say, like Tanya said, that in a bricks and mortar school, a teacher would work with 180 students, and we cut that in half. We say a full-time teaching load is about half of that, so 80 to 100, because it's more labor intensive, and it's, you have to work hard to connect students when you're not face-to-face with them, to connect with them. So we believe there's a very important role for teachers, and this is not about somehow making that go away.
Okay. Kimmy, and I want to say also, Kimmy, I apologize for stepping on your PowerPoint at the very end there. In my rookie newbiness of moderator, I was getting nervous on time. So mea culpa on that. But Kimmy, can you come back to us and tell us about a myth that Inspired dealt with and busted?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And we get this every once in a while, the reference that somehow we're not a real school as a public charter or as a non-site-based school. Somehow we're not real. And that kind of always gives me pause, because just because we look a little bit different, just because we operate a little bit differently, it's not cookie cutter. It's not, the way school was done necessarily in the past, doesn't mean that we're not real. Our students are held accountable for the very same grade level standards as any other student in the state of California. We participate in state testing, the SBAC and the CAS test. We even get our kiddos out there and we do our physical fitness testing, our fitnessgram. So, wanting to just say for the record, we pride ourselves on being a high quality, legitimate educational organization that, yeah, we're pushing the boundaries a little bit, and yeah, we look a little bit different. But I'm just so grateful to be able to provide an educational platform in a different way that meets the needs of not every student, right? Not every student can be an independent study student or a virtual learner, but there are many that can. It is the new way of training and education. So that was my little myth for you.
It's about changing marketplaces and meeting consumer demand for a 21st century education that's relevant to 21st century students. Tanya, your myth.
Yeah, so one of the counters, I guess, to virtual education and online education is the idea that students are not, we're not meeting the needs of the soft skills or the social emotional skills that students need in a traditional brick and mortar school. And for us, that really is a misnomer. We have a lot of opportunities for students to build those soft skills, build those social emotional skills. We have those synchronous learning sessions where students are required to be just like we are, your face out there on the camera, you're interacting with their peers, they're interacting with their students. We have a lot of opportunities such as field trips and opportunities here on site for students to get together. And because it is directed for that specific purpose, I think they actually gain more in that moment than they would in a traditional school, where that social emotional piece is also in conjunction with the academic piece, where they have to be in school, they have to be quiet, there's no discussion, they have to be learning, they have a few minutes passing period where they're able to connect, where here it's very purposeful and very specific for that reason. We had two students, they were cousins, and one of them, they're both in our early college program. One of them came through our online program before they entered the early college. The other one came from a brick and mortar school. And it's interesting to see the comparison side by side, because the one that was a product of our virtual school really is having a lot easier time interacting with their teachers, being able to ask the questions and getting the help that they need, being proactive within their education, because that's what's built in to our virtual school. So it actually, I think, gives them more tools for soft skills than being in a traditional setting.
All right. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you. Fascinating. This has been a whirlwind 50 minutes so far, folks, and we are now going into the home stretch of our webinar. Let's get to the questions that some of our viewers, our participants out there have asked. I want to say to Mary that I am positive, and I haven't talked with Steve about this yet, but I am confident that the PowerPoint presentations that have been showcased today can be made available to you from the schools directly through CPICS in the next few upcoming days. I'm sure that those can be made available, Mary. Let's take Laura's question, and this is a round robin format. So Kimmy, Gigi, Elisa, Tanya, weigh in, please. Assessment strategies and authentic assessment. What does that look like in your school?
Sure, I can start.
Gigi.
Authentic assessment is, for us, all kinds of different things, but it's not usually tests that have bubbles. The authentic assessment that we look at is the products they're producing. What are they creating? Doing live presentations, doing things in their community, but all of the students will end up coming back to what we call our proposal team. They'll come back to a team of teachers in which they have to do an interview about their project, and they're asked content questions and process questions and all of these different pieces that have to do with their project, and then they'll receive credit. So it's a lot like a thesis might be. So that is where our authentic piece comes in.
All right, thank you. Fernando has been asking questions about support systems. What support systems are in place for struggling students? What support systems are in place for communication between schools and families? What type of support systems are in place to lead to such phenomenal graduation rates? So Gigi, Elisa, Tanya, Kimmy, can you discuss the support systems in your schools?
Yeah, I'd love to take this one. So
thank you, Tanya.
We actually have quite a lot of support systems because most of our students come to us at risk. We're either credit deficient, at risk, usually there's a story behind every student. And that's one important piece that we always try to stress about how we as an organization work is we need to understand our students and know, what's going on. So we have a support system, or what we call RAISE, which is working with engaging students, because a lot of our students are non-engaged students when they show up from their schools. So it is one of our biggest challenges, and I think that maybe that's across the board, but talking to other online schools, engagement really is one of our huge challenges. So we have a family engagement coordinator that works on the family level to help meet the needs of the families in order for the student to focus on education. So that's one of our biggest structures that we have in place. When our students come to us, we have a welcome meeting process orientation where we really hit the educating the parent of what it takes for a student to be successful at the school, and also educating the parent the systems that we use. We use Canvas for our LMS. We just brought on a new SI system, student information system that works with Canvas. We also create wraparound services. So we have social emotional supports. As I said, most of our students come because they've been bullied or anxiety. We offer bus passes for students if they need them, especially if they need to come to the site. That's one way we get them to engage is offer bus passes, monthly bus passes to get them where they need to go. We offer a breakfast and lunch to families on site. So if they're in the area and come in, we make sure that those needs are met. If they're not in the area, we look at trying to connect them with other resources out there that's within their area. Whatever support the family needs, we try to get it for them. We try to find daycare for our parents, for our students that are parents, so that they can focus on their education that we'll fund. We have, again, our technology. I don't know if we'll touch on that, but offer the technology that families may need and other services. So we have quite a huge support to try to really build that engagement through our school.
All right, thank you, Tanya. Let's go to Lori's question, which is one that's often comes up when we're dealing with the topic of online or virtual learning, and that's academic integrity or cheating, or how do you know that the kids are actually and really doing the work? So, Kimmy, can you take that one for us? How does Inspire know that the work is genuine?
Sure, absolutely. So our teachers are required at minimum to meet with their families at least once every learning period, which is every 20 school days. It works out to about once a month. At those meetings, and oftentimes at other in-person opportunities in between those meetings, field trips, special days, et cetera, the teacher is evaluating the student's body of work. And so as a certificated agent of the state, we are counting on our teachers and have provided training and supports to make sure they know how to glean, assess, monitor, and track the students' learning. So it's not, this random like, oh, maybe they did or maybe they didn't. Our teachers are able to use their knowledge and skill set of, appropriate learning, progress monitoring, ensuring, not just the quality but fidelity of the work. And so we glean that a lot of times through work product or work samples. The students will bring sort of a portfolio of their body of work. A lot of conversations are happening, sharing of photos of those projects that they've done out in the community or with enrichment vendors. So it's kind of a compilation of all of those things. But we definitely, make that a priority to make sure that we are providing documentation, that our teachers are verifying the work, and that the child has done it. Now, I will say that there are occasionally some times where the teacher can tell and has determined that it's not the student's work, and then we follow our non-compliance policies and procedures for that. So there's a mechanism of what to do when it's found that the student has cheated or the parent potentially has falsified a work product or sample.
All right, thank you, Kimmy. Thank you very much.